Shalom. Kohalo Yahweh Bashim Hawashai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered among the four corners of the earth, among the heathen nations that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And what you're about to see is Edomite superiority, so-called white superiority, and hatred, at the highest. All right, so let's grab a quick scripture. This is Genesis 27 and 41. And it reads, "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing where his father blessed him. Esau said in his heart, these days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." All right. Now, in that first fleshly vessels that Esau and Jacob came in, Esau and Jacob actually made peace with one another, but that hatred developed and grew in their sons. All right, so the generations to come after them, the prophecies began to play out and fulfill themselves. And ever since Esau, Edom got dominion over the world, because they are the wicked. That's another way to identify them, the wicked. As a matter of fact, let's get that Job 9 and 24. Let's grab that. All right, this is Job 9 and verse 24, and it reads, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked." See, the wicked is a race of people. All right. "He covered the faces of the judges thereof." So who was able to go all throughout the world putting their face up, in historical places, in different lands and different places, and lie and cover up history? All right. If not, where and who is he? So you have to ask yourself, who the Lord predicted, he prophesied that a race of people would come along, and they are the wicked, and the earth will be given into their hand, and that they will cover up the faces of the judges. The judges are the Israelites. And the Israelites look like the two people that you see on the screen. The ancient Israelites. All right, because you have to count in the speckled birds that are mixed among the heathen nations. If your sperm line is among the heathen nation, then you're more than likely you're going to look like that nation. But as long as your line can be traced back to the Israelites, then you too are Israelite as well. Something that a lot of these Israelites do not understand or want to embrace, that simple fact that you are whatever your father is, that is what you are. All right, and if your father was among another race of people and settled there, any male seed of his that survives and live and move and make more children, as long as they have males in their line, they keep going, whether it be 2 generations or 100 generations. All right. So back on point, the wicked did exactly what they said they would do. They began to slay Jacob and enslave Jacob, and did all manner of wickedness to Jacob. But the worst crimes came after slavery. All right, which I'm going to read Ezekiel 35, matter of fact, and then we'll play some of these videos. All right, I got a couple of videos queued up. This is Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword," which was Esau's blessing, by the way, because if you go back to Genesis, the 27th chapter, and read verse 40, right before 41, it says, "And by thy sword shalt thou live." So by the sword you shall live means you're going to be a marauder, a murderer. You're not going to work hard. You're going to work hard at killing and stealing. All right. And then you set up your laws and set up your false history and play like you're the goodly, pious, religious person when you're just a murdering thief. All right, it says, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass. So that proves that they were beneath Jacob. And when was that? Before Rome, and then after Rome fell. Okay, before Greece, Esau was below Jacob. As a matter of fact, they were servants to King David. They were servants to the people on the screen. And then once Rome fell, and the Israelites took over all of Europe, and there's so much evidence to prove that. Right? That's why Esau makes all these movies and these period pieces, putting his face during the 5th and 6th, 7th, 8th century. You know, one of my favorite period pieces has been The Last Kingdom. All right? And, you know, it's clear when you understand and know history that Uhtred and all and Ragnarsson, you know, they were not white people, so-called, at all. They were in the caves at that point, and the few of them that weren't were slaves and servants. They didn't come back into power until the Renaissance, which was in the late 1400s. So from about 300, you know, roughly, from about 298, you know, 300 BC roughly, all the way up until the end of 1492, the Edomites were on the bottom. And they came back into power. That's when the earth was given into their hand. That was the dragon, Rome was referred to as the red dragon in Revelation 12, that was wounded but did live. See, because Jacob was merciful, they forced him into the Caucasus mountain. They didn't exterminate and kill them all. All right? Hence the reason why they call themselves Caucasian. And Caucasian means cave dweller, for those of you who don't know. So back to this scripture, Ezekiel 35 and 5. It said, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So at the end of slavery, all right, when Jacob thought they would have been free, that's when this spirit of Edom, this murderous spirit of Edom, came out. Because when you were slaves, you had a little bit more value. So they mistreated you and they killed you, they raped you, but they didn't just outright slaughter you, because you were a commodity that they needed for wealth, for power. But after slavery, it was open season on Jacob, and guess what? It's never stopped. It's never stopped. Because things like this was happening all along, has been happening all along in America. Only thing now is that you have the internet. So it exposes it to the whole world. They aren't able to hide these things for long. Let's let it play.
Our top story tonight, you cannot go anywhere on social media without seeing his picture pop up on your timeline. Ahmaud Arbery's story is getting reaction from everyone from LeBron James to Taylor Swift and President Trump. It also has a lot of you talking on our KHOU 11 social media pages. A local solidarity run gets underway in about an hour right here in Houston. It is part of a nationwide show of support. Sherman Chow talked to the organizer. She breaks down the case that has now gone viral.
Wait, he don't need people to run for him. What he needs is justice. What he needs is vengeance. He needs Revelation 18 and 6. Because there's something about a kinsman avenger in the Bible, you know, roughly paraphrased. Meaning if someone kills your kinsman, you actually have the right to put that person to death. All right, so you know, that's what Esau, that's what this wicked, you know, father and son duo should get. They should both get put to death by his family members. All right, his next of kin. But this is Revelation 18 and 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill unto her double. And you best believe, all right, that was his lot to die. A lot of people won't understand that, because the scriptures clearly say that all matters of death belong unto the Lord. No one dies without him sanctioning it. But see, the Lord is so crucial. He'll sanction a 2/3 to die. All right, because it's clear that this guy was a 2/3, you know, Ahmaud Arbery, but he still was a seed of the chosen people. So the Lord will let you, you know, you'll put an Israelite to death, but then he'll turn around and mess you up because you put your hand on his anointed.
Sparking conversations in households across the country. Sherman?
Yeah, mine included. It was the talk of our dinner table last night. Meanwhile, today there were demonstrations and anger across the country, starting in Georgia.
Everybody involved.
This was the scene outside the courthouse in Brunswick, Georgia. Demonstrators want answers as to why it took so long for a 64-year-old Gregory and his son, 34-year-old Travis McMichael,
Man,
to be
they
arrested.
flashed him too quick.
Gregory
Let's take that
McMichael
back.
is a former police officer who had worked for the local district attorney's office.
The injustice surrounding this case.
Let's bring that back.
For a 64-year-old Gregory,
Behold, the devil. And I love it when Esau wears white. Because then you compare the white to his skin and you clearly see that he is not. He is that red man that is described in the Bible. And behold, the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they named his name Esau, which means wasted away as heat. Why? Because he has no pigmentation. All right, he looks like someone that was born dead. And later on, his name was changed to Edom, which means red. Why? Because his blood shows forth through his skin. All right, that's why they both have that red, pinkish tint to their skin. Both father and son, especially the son. All right, the father's a little more red around his neck. But this is that ancient hatred that Esau Edom has. And see, you've been made bare. Your lies are not working anymore. Your skirt has been lifted. All right? You labeled yourself white in 1681 in Virginia. That's your newest cover story. When you covered up the faces of the judges, you hid your own. You covered up your own. But the Lord removed that veil. That veil, that covering over all the nations.
and his son, 34-year-old Travis McMichael, to be arrested. Gregory McMichael is a former police officer who had worked for the local district attorney's office.
The injustice surrounding this case was just as heinous, or almost as heinous, as the murder itself.
Bishop James Dixon is the vice president of Houston's NAACP chapter. He notes it took 3 different prosecutors, 2 months, and the state police before the McMichaels were arrested Thursday and charged with murder and aggravated assault. 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery was jogging through his own neighborhood on February 23rd. Cell phone video captured the shooting. The senior McMichael said he thought Arbery was a burglary suspect. The father and son, both armed, pursued Arbery, and there was a fight over the McMichaels' shotgun. Arbery was killed.
An African-American man, you can be doing the...
So there we go with that garbage. He's neither an African nor an American. Africa is named after... matter of fact, let's bring their faces up. Africa is named after one of their forefathers, Scipio Africanus, right, who looked like them. Asia is named after his younger brother, Scipio Asiaticus, all right. America is named after another one of their brethren on the screen, Amerigo Vespucci, all right. So to refer to someone with brown skin as an African American, you're referring to them by the names of 2 different Edomites. And that is not a nationality. All right? Landmass is not your nationality. Your nationality is through the seed line that you come from through your father. And all the people in the world have biblical names. Point blank, period.
Son, 34-year-old Travis McMichael, to be arrested.
Let me stop
Gregory.
that. Let's click to another quick video.
Racist symbol, but the vast majority.
There we go, because this is them holding on to that. This was premiered on World Star, and this was an interview, a small portion of an interview, all right, that was put up by Rari La Yasharala, Yahweh Shai is coming back on his page. This is a short clip of a guy who's proud of the hanging, the murder, the Jim Crow, the structural racism within the government, within employment, this is a guy who's proud of that until he's put on blast. Until that shameful, there should be shame upon your glory. Matter of fact, let's load that up real quick. Let me find that. That's in Habakkuk, I believe, 2:16. Yep. So let's let it roll.
Racist symbol, but the vast majority of people believe that it's a symbol of heritage. It's a symbol of our history that people think is associated with the South, and the South was fighting for slavery. That's a common misconception about what actually took place. When you study the history, that was one thing that the war was about. People don't go to war for one issue. I'm not a historian. You're putting me on the spot for something
So we got one thing that the war is about, slavery. What are two other things that the war is about?
In general, the war was about tyranny.
What is tyranny?
Tyranny is any time a government overreaches and they control a life too much.
Like slavery.
You hear that? Like slavery. Then he has the most stupid look on his face. Right. He sits back. He says that tyranny is any time that someone overreaches and has too much control on a human life. See, these Edomites respect no one's humanity except their own. The scriptures clearly says that the basis of men. See, not only are they the wicked, but they're the basis of men. All right, so the lowest people are actually in control, and that's punishment to the judges. And Lord, have we been punished well to allow this weak vessel that can't even go in the sun without burning, all right, to rule over us. This is Habakkuk 2:16. Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. And the cup of Yahweh's right hand shall turn unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. So shameful spewing is upon his glory. That's why he's trying to defend this portion of his heritage. He's trying to defend it. Let's let it play out one more time.
Racist symbol, but the vast majority of people believe that it's a symbol of heritage. It's a symbol of our history that people think is associated with the South, and the South was fighting for slavery. That's a common misconception about what actually took place. When you study the history, that was one thing that the war was about. People don't go to war for one issue. I'm not a historian. You're putting me on the spot for something
So we got one thing that the war is about, slavery. What are two other things that the war is about?
In general, the war was about tyranny.
What is tyranny?
Tyranny is any time a government overreaches and they control a life too much.
Like slavery.
Like slavery.
What?
See?
Racist symbol, but the vast majority.
The brother had to laugh at him. Right, because he just man, one more time. That ending is crucial. Let me play it one more time because I enjoyed it too. Then the brother couldn't hold himself at the end. He laughed at him too. Hold on.
What?
Like slavery.
What?
Wow. Hey, so with that, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Abishai, Ba'ashem B'Kakwadash, Wa Abba Babal. Shalom.